Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to talk about generic in TypeScript. We're going to learn how to create dynamic type. In previous video we talked about interface type aliases. We've learned how to create strongly typed objects. But how can we make our interface and type aliases dynamic? And that's why in today's video we are going to learn generic. Let's dive right into it. Let's say here we have this interface. iResult. It has two keys, message and status. And then here we create a constant backend result. It is an object that we type with iResult interface. And then here you can see that we just pass the message, no error. But how can we make that when we type a given object with iResult, we can pass here even an object or a boolean or a function. And to do that, we are going to use generic. Now, let's create another interface. But in this one, it is going to be a generic. Let's say iResult2. And then here, we're going to pass here an anchor bracket like this. And then within the anchor brackets, we're going to pass the type. And then here, we're going to say the message, it is going to be dynamic. And then let's copy the backend results. And then let's say backend result 2 here. You can see on the first backend result here, we have on the message key, we have only one type to pass to it. We have to pass only the string. But on the second one, we have a possibility to pass even a number, a string, an object. Here you can see, let's now type our backend result 2 objects with iResult2. Then as it is generic, we are going to specify the type. Anchor bracket, now we need to specify the type. We're going to say that the message is going to have the status. Let's say it is going to have the code. It is going to be a number. And can say it is going to have also a message within it. Here you can see here, and here we are getting an error because here we are just specifying the type of the error message of the message here, of the error message here. And here you can see that we are getting here an error because we are passing the message key a type that is not appropriate. You can see we are getting here an error. We should pass it the code, this object, a kind of type, because here the message, it is represented by this type here, the T, and that's what we pass within the anchor brackets. And then here to remove this error, we're gonna pass here the code, let's say 200, and the message data saved successfully. And this is how we can use generic to pass dynamic type to an interface. For example, again, we can create another result. Let's say backend result 3 here. Const backend result 3. And then we are going to use this interface iResult2 to type it. This one we are going to pass, let's say we are going to pass a boolean. We're going to say that the message, it is going to be a boolean. Here we're going to pass here message, we're going to say true, and the status also false. Here you can see that we just type the message key with the boolean here. That's how we use generic. Generic allows to create dynamic type. Here we have, this is an interface, a static. This is a static type here, and this is a dynamic one because here we have the possibility to pass whatever type to our message key here. Now let's see how we can use generic with type aliases. Let's create a type. Let's say type creates employee input. And then here, let's say employee model. employee model. And then here we are going to pass here ID. Let's say ID is going to be a dynamic type. Pass here the T, and then here we're going to pass here the name and the email here. You can see. And then let's create an object that represents the employee model type, employee model, and then we're gonna tap it, that. And then here you can see that here we need to specify here the type anchor brackets, and then we need to specify the type. We're going to say the number 1, and the name, let's say Chris, and email, this is the email. And then here you can see that here we just first created an employee object that we tap with employee model type, and then we just pass a dynamic type number to ID here. But also we can shift the type. You can even say here it is going to be a string. And that's how we can use generic with type aliases. We can even create a function with generic, let's say get employees, and then it is going to be a generic anchor brackets, and then we're gonna say here we are going to pass an array of employee, which is going to correspond to this type here. Say here employees, then we're gonna tap it with the type that we are going to specify, and the return type, it is going to be an array, and then of employees, and then here we are going to return an array of employees here. Then here let's call our function get employees. Here first we need to specify the type here. We are going to say it is going to be an object that we are going to pass here. So we're going to specify the name. It is going to have only the name and email string, and then here we need to pass an object here, because this is what we just specified here within the anchor bracket. Name, it is going to be Chris, and email. You can see we don't get any error because here we are returning an array of which contains an object with two keys, name and email. We can just store it within an array, employee array. You can see we just created here a dynamic type here. We can even create also a function that is returning an array of users and an array of numbers. Let's say here, let's create one more function return array. So we're gonna pass here an anchor bracket. It is going to be a generic, and then here we're gonna pass here an array of this type. It's going to be return the type, and here you can see that we are just returning our array. And then when we call our function, we need to specify the type here. It's going to be an array of string, and then we're gonna pass it here an array of strings. So Chris, Bob, John. Here we have Chris, John. Okay, and that's how we can use generic with function. Also, we can pass here an array of numbers, and then here we're going to use numbers. You can see that generic, it is a powerful tool that we can use when we are working with TypeScript. Now let's say we can use generic within a class. Let's say here we have our class. Say class employee class, say like this. Then we're gonna pass it a generic type. Then we're gonna pass it the object here is going to be the value here is going to be a generic type. Then we're gonna initialize it. Let's say it's going to be an object, say public objects. We're going to type udt here, and then we need to instantiate our employee class. Let's say cons employee class. We need to let's instantiate it, and then here we should pass here the type. It's going to be an object. It is going to be an object that has two keys, name and email. And then here we can pass this. Let's copy this, and then we can pass the values here, and the error disappear. And that's how we can use generic within a class. You can see that generic, it is a powerful tool that we can use in TypeScript when we want to create dynamic type. That's all for this video, and thanks for watching. I see you in the next one.